Please avoid damaging yourself or others while you are out.
I can't believe I wanted to shake his hand. I need a shower. Makes you wonder if being a treacherous, two-timing coward is some sort of contagious disease, or if he was just born that way. Graham Bryant, if that is his real name. I can't trust a word that came out of his mouth. At first, I liked what Graham was doing. The Iconoclasts were going to change Halcyon for the better. But then, we found out Graham was behind the slaughter of Amber Heights. How can anybody so morally bankrupt lead a movement to transform the colony? That's putting it kindly, boss. Graham's worse than trash. He's a traitor. You'd never do something like that, would you? Slaughter a whole community of innocents? I'm sure Graham told himself the same thing. He wasn't the one who held the gun and pulled the trigger. All he did was turn a key. The thing is, that's all it takes. Sometimes the difference between right and wrong is turning a key, or looking the other way, or keeping your mouth shut when you ought to speak up. Let's get back to it. I need to put all this ugly business with Graham behind me.
So, you're really running around with us now, huh?
Sure am. I'm a part of the crew now. Got my own bunk and everything.
You know, Felix, now that you're a real pirate, I should induct you into the Pirate's Code of Silence.
Ooh, the Code of Silence! What's that?
It means you agree not to talk for a very long time.
Hey, I remember Cascadia from that one episode of Terror on Monarch. Crawling with monsters it was.
Here we go!
That's one down!
Getting my target practice in today.
Got it. Heads down. You ever want to hide a body? You could dump it in that sulfur pool.
Ugh. This is why I prefer spaceships and clean recycled air. Don't mess with us! They're practicing this!
That was fun. Let's do it again. Get it off! Get it off! Don't let up!
Take him down!
Nobody messes with you, boss!
I got another fighting me. Here we go! Down they go!
Keep it up!
Here we go! Not bad, huh? That's the last of them.
I've been waiting for this!
Bullseye! Down they go!
For the best! You go on ahead. I'll just wait out here.
Me too. You know corpses shit themselves, right? Enjoy the smell.
Hello, my name's Jen. I'm the chief engineer on this gunship, and I'd like to let the record show that our captain is a total fucking hullhead. I told him again and again that without fixing our regulators, spinning up the engines are going to blow through our coils and we'll go flying off in a completely random direction. Well, here we are, thinking we'll hit soil in about 30 seconds. This is your chief engineer signing off for what is probably the last time. It's a shame you can't see this middle finger I'm holding up, because I'm doing it as hard as I can.
Hey boss, got a hypothetical for you? You got a friend, see? Somebody you knew when you were growing up. You were close. Then one day, they up and vanished. 5 years go by, they send you a message out of the aether. What's going through your head? Right, forgot about that. Though, shock and disbelief's a good way to put it. Guy by the name of Clyde Harlow. He was an old friend of mine. Honestly, he was probably my first and longest friend. I just heard from him. Says he wants to talk to me. Says it's urgent. The guy just vanished without a trace one day. No goodbyes, no explanations. Been gnawing at me ever since, you know? That's what I don't know. The message was light on details. No explanations, as usual. Clyde. He was a blustery old cuss. Carried on about violent revolution and seizing the means of production. Clyde was my first friend, but he was also my mentor. Taught me how to think, how to question, how to disobey. I figured the board got him in the end. Some guys with black uniforms snatching him off the street in the middle of the night or something. Clyde's waiting for us on Cilla. What he's doing on an asteroid, I can't begin to imagine. I appreciate this, boss. I know you're going out of your way for me. infamous Amber Heights.
Something about this place makes me feel sane by comparison.
I'm drinking here. Move yourself on. Nothing on this moon for nobody. There's a lot of heartbreak. You know, a tiny part, a damn stupid part of me hoped he was still out there. What happened? Damn. Well, you find our box of memories? Well, ain't you clever? Fine. I was supposed to pick him up that night. Thing is, another offer came along. Bit more lucrative. And their payment almost died with them. Thanks to you, I can afford another round. Cheers, hero. Look, I like your gumption. I was gonna share the bits, but here's a couple extra. Now go on. Leave an old man to his past.
Captain, we should chat. Graham's got the right idea, but he isn't the right guy to execute it. I don't even think he's motivated by philosophism anymore. I think he's just guilt-ridden. I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I keep going over and over it in my head, and the only way I see the Iconoclast surviving is we depose him. Yeah. Hell, most of our people listen to me already. Take Stellar Bay. Lick our wounds. Eventually, figure out how the hell we're going to spread the word to the rest of the colony. Sometimes, you gotta do what's best for someone, even if they think you're wrong. Even if it's painful. When we're in Stellar Bay, they'll come around. I'm going to confront him. Can I count on your support? Okay. Deep breaths. This is what's best, Sora. Time to save Monarch.
Captain, you must be back with the access codes to our new ship.
Graham, we need to talk.
We have work to do. This isn't the time for one of our spats. What? Zora?
You're running the Iconoclast into the ground, and I don't believe it'll get better after we take Stellar Bay. The troops take orders from me already, and you've brought me as far as you can down the eternal path. It's time to step down.
The troops? Listen to you. This isn't an army. They aren't soldiers. They're believers. Followers. They pick up a gun because you tell them to, not because they want to. And you, Captain, after all you've done for me, for us, you throw behind this mutinous blasphemer? I built this movement from the ground up. I've brought freedom to Monarch, and all these years later, we're still free.
I joined because I believed that you were in it for the Iconoclasts. That you wanted nothing more than to bring freedom to Halcyon. That you were selfless. But I know the truth now, Graham. I know what happened in Amber Heights. You didn't start this movement because you wanted to save us. You wanted to save yourself.
No. I've spent years atoning for my sins. I've studied, meditated, taught. I built the iconoclasts so that any man could cast away his past for a fresh start.
That's your answer, Graham? You needed a fresh start? After all those innocent lives? I'm sorry. I believed in you once. I did. But it's over. Stand down.
I won't. What happened back then was a mistake, and the colony has moved on. This is my movement. These are my people. If you want to lead them, you'll have to kill me.
Please. Don't make me do this, Graham.
If this is where my path ends, I accept it. But as long as I draw breath, I will not abandon them.
So be it.
They're on us!
Feels like your path.
Can we do that again?
Well, Captain, here we are. Killed a lot of people in the name of the iconoclasts, and it never feels right. But this time, it's especially wrong. You've got the... Void help me. I'll never remember what that thing is called. The device from the ship. Do you have it? I've thought about it, but I think we're too far gone. Pulling Carlotta's support was crossing a line. That's not exactly it, but you've got a point. We've lost a hell of a lot to this fight. Graham would never agree to this, but I'm starting to realize how often he led us astray. All right, if he's willing to talk, I'll give him a chance.
What's on your mind? Yeah, sure thing. Ask away. I've been thinking about that. Cilla's about as far away from civilization as I can imagine. Cold, barren rocks and the occasional mining operation. Clyde wasn't exactly a prospector. I guess we'll find out when we get there. Yeah, I was just a lonely orphan kid getting my knuckles dirty. Clyde? I want to say he saw some potential in me. Like as not, he just took pity on me. So he took me in, gave me a place to live, gave me something to believe in. Clyde wasn't an idiot. He kept his head down, worked hard, did as he was told. You're not going to catch him standing on a soapbox decrying the tyranny of the board. But when the Mardettes had their backs turned, oh yeah, he carried on about starting a revolution. Said he was going to do something big. Yeah, boss?
Something on your mind? Ah, crazy town. Never change.
This place wasn't half so pretty in the serials.
Not bad, huh?
That has to hurt! Everyone alright?
My sight!
Whoever it was!
Reminds me of the crew cabin on one of my first ships.
Hey, Ellie, you wanna know what I think? I think they ought to make a serial about our crew. Only, we'd have all these secret messages in every episode, see?
What happened to the Code of Silence, Felix?
Hey, why do you always do that thing with your eyes whenever I talk to you? You on the alert, maybe? Looking out for hidden enemies?
Let's just say you remind me of someone.
I bet they were real pretty.
If the Iconoclasts reach that ship first, there won't be any chance for a peaceful Monarch.
I don't suppose you've found the targeting module yet. I've sent patrols, but they're running into trouble with the Iconoclasts. Well, because the module controls the weapons systems. Because once we mount them on Stellar Bay's walls, no Marauder or Raptidon will ever be a threat to us again.
Gotta hand it to you, Sanjar. That ain't a bad plan.
It's absolutely foolproof. Stellar Bay will be as secure as any other settlement in Halcyon.
The point is, this weapon system would be a powerful advantage, and we can't risk the Iconoclast getting it.
The board's own Salvage and Recovery Clause 32B would say differently.
And they won't dare challenge us over this. Not after the data you found on their experiments here. Don't worry. We'll send an engineering team for those later. We'll have to disconnect them from the rest of the ship.
Of course, they'll be useless without that targeting module, which is why it's critical that you retrieve it.
Which is also why we can't let the Iconoclast get them.
Look, Celia, he's being funny again.
I don't think so, sir.
Really? Well, I could have sworn... Well, that's not important. What is important is that there's a considerable distance between us and that ship, and most of it is inhabited by Marauders and Raptidons. Oh, it is, and that's not saying anything about the Sulfur Pits, the Mantisaurs, the Iconoclast Rebels, Celia, do we have any pep pills? I'm feeling lightheaded.
I'm afraid you finished them going over the sales reports last week.
Oh, well, I suppose you see our predicament. Can you imagine what those maniacs would do with weapons like that? They'd wreak havoc.
You said that like it's a problem.
The board would consider us complicit in any of their folly. That would only get us ousted again.
And roll back all the progress we've made at reconciling with the rest of Halcyon.
Oh, I've known their ilk long enough. Even if they merely sat on the scraps, the threat of a bunch of anarchists holding a gunship would bring the full wrath of the board down on Monarch. We can't afford that. Good, because we haven't a moment to lose. That's surprising. The board's equipment is usually in top shape. After all, they have first access to any fresh parts or components. A conspiracy? You've spent too much time around Graham. They're all mad! And what's more, they left us! I don't see any way for us to work together. Ugh, not this again.
Remember what we practiced, sir.
Yes. The words in those reviews were very hurtful, but they do not define me. I am a mantipillar, and my will is my cocoon. I can emerge and become whatever I wish. You two?
He has a point, sir. And it's not all bad.
Supposing you're right, who exactly would you have me work with? The iconoclasts are not the most compromising sorts. Oh, how do these things ever start? Once upon a time, Graham and I saw the same problems with MSI. A rigid corporate structure with no regard for its people. But where I wanted to reform MSI, he only wanted to take it apart. As if starving in the wilderness is somehow better than starving under corporate mismanagement. He wouldn't hear reason, and I doubt any of his successors will either. That's an interesting suggestion. I confess I don't know much about her except that she worked for Rizzo. I'd be willing to consider it, but I need to see her review first. One can't be haphazard about these things. Besides, if you think her skills will complement mine, then we should see what those skills are. Very well. I can't promise anything, but let's see what we have here. Well, it seems like she's actually very qualified. All right. I'll have Celia organize a meeting in neutral territory, the old OSI church in the ruins. Meet us there, and we'll discuss terms.
Carry on.
You ever watch Agent Khan? He's got this ship, right? The Invincible? And we got a ship, right? So I got to thinking, who would win in a race? The Invincible or the Unreliable?
Felix, you watch too many movies.
Hey, you sound just like Nyoka. Adventure serials are my education. Where else am I supposed to learn how to kick a jackass in the chest? And that's what being a pirate's all about, right?
Hate to tell you, but a lot of the job is waiting for a gig, then waiting to get paid.
Hey, Ellie. When was it that you realized the board was crushing the life out of this colony?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the board? The machine of oppression? Ain't that why you became a pirate? Because you wanted to be free and all?
I'm just after a paycheck, kid.
Hey, thanks for coming.
I wish I'd had more time to prepare a proper analysis on the costs and benefits of your proposed union, but I suppose we'll have to improvise.
Gotta admit, I really thought I was walking into a trap here. I'm ready.
I get the feeling this is gonna take a while.
Sanjar, Stellar Bay's got food and walls. And my people need both. If you'll have us, we're willing to share the space.
Do you have any idea what that would cost? Why, drawing up the budget alone is going to take weeks.
Not good enough. I need to move a fair amount of my people into the city. We need shelter, Captain. Suppose some of our healthier folk could offer aid. Some of us need to stay in the city proper, though.
Truly, a compromise? I'm not sure I'd ever have heard as much from Graham.
Graham was a murderous fiend, and I'd be shocked if you didn't already know that. Avoid take his agreement. He stood by and let it happen.
This feels like one of those times when everyone at headquarters but me is laughing at something, but you two aren't laughing.
Amber Heights, you haulhead. 10 years ago, Graham had all those people killed.
What? That's not possible. Even for him, that's going too far. But that means... I had no idea, I swear. Look, we were both fed up with corporate leadership, but I never guessed he'd do something like that.
I think I believe him. He's just dumb enough to mean it.
You can't take bureaucrats at their word. You back someone into a corner like this, and they'll say anything to get out of it.
Very well. I suppose my ignorance is no excuse. I knew Graham for years. I should have done my due diligence and known exactly who I was working with. Surely you know what that's like.
Yeah, I do. Okay, if you're willing to house and supply some of us, I'll have our more capable soldiers help out.
As am I. Oh, I can feel my blood pressure lowering already.
Thanks for coming out, Sanjar. Guess I'll see you at Stellar Bay.
Never doubted you for a minute, boss.
If you'll excuse me.
Hey,